are live. Welcome to FMA Discussion, episode 13. Today I have with me Chris Smith. Welcome. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, thanks for being a guest coming on. What I always like to do is before I get into even FMA remotely and the topic of choice today, which is Doce Parish, I always like to get a pre-FMA background.
Okay.
So what say you as far as that? What'd you do before FMA?
Karate, like everybody else did. Tang Sudo.
Right.
A little bit of Kung Fu.
Taekwondo for me.
And that was really it. I got introduced to the FMA with a whole bunch of other stuff all at once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you pretty much, at what age are you doing this karate, the karate thing, so to speak?
Started when I was a kid, about 5.
5. And then did you go to, how far did you go? What age?
I off and on. I would do it for a little while. I would quit. I would do it again. I would quit till about 17.
17.
About 17.
Oh, all right. So you obviously ranked and what have you.
Yes.
Okay. So at that point, you're a teenager. What made you leave the traditional arts?
The fact that they weren't working for me.
Oh, okay.
They weren't.
Okay.
So not to say that they don't work. They weren't working.
They
for
weren't
me.
working for you. Okay. So all right. So let's jump into. I want to cover this before we get into Doce Parish. So
sure.
Your first FMA experience. When and who?
My first hands-on experience would be Ron Kosokowski. And I was about 18. And it was a little bit of Cantao, and I guess you would call it the Inosanto La Costa blend.
Hey, Guru Vico. So Ron was so circa what year, Kelly?
1989, 1990.
Oh, so that was early. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't. Jeez, 95 and 96.
Yeah.
I think I first met Ron.
Yeah.
There, yeah. Okay, wow. Okay, so generally speaking, that's at that point it was kind of screwed as La Costa. Was it officially an ensemble blend then?
No, it was just Filipino martial arts. And,
so you guys, okay.
And at times, Ron would distinguish. He would say this was Cantao.
Okay.
And there was a part of me that I definitely liked it, but there was, I wanted to do Jeet Kune Do.
Right.
And I wanted to get good at Jeet Kune Do, and I wanted to get good at hand trapping. And when I expressed this to Ron, I expressed it to to Vunak, and then confirmed it with Inosanto. When I expressed it to Ron that I wanted to get good at hand trapping, he said, you got to do Kali.
Interesting.
When I asked Vunak, he said, you got to train your Filipino martial arts.
Can I just back you up a bit?
Sure.
Do they say why?
They never told me why. They just said you had to do it.
You just need to do this, but we're not going to give you the reason.
They never told me why.
Just obviously, we can now in our journey, we can obviously figure it out that we know the reasons or reasons, but maybe for viewers watching is all. Yeah. So you're with Ron and I just know from jumping with you and whatever. At what point? Because during Ron's tenure, you also Vunak.
Yes.
And then Larry Hartsell.
Correct.
Okay, so all right, so we're not going to leave Ron completely yet. But at what year did you see Vunak, as far as FMA is concerned?
1991.
91, okay. And hey, Mike, thank you for watching. Paul, thank you. And I thought Miss Maestro Rister, thank you. So, 91?
Yeah.
So 91, I'm assuming you flew out to him?
No, he came to Connecticut.
So your first exposure to him is when he came out here
Yeah.
doing a seminar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
okay.
his videos.
Black Panther.
Yeah. Panther Productions videos and all that stuff.
You go to any 90s guy and they have that in their collection.
Oh, everyone had it. Everyone did.
So, all right, so you go out. So he came out here. You kind of got to meet him,
Yep.
meet and greet. You know that he's Ron's teacher.
Yes.
So at that point, that kind of propelled you. Hey, you know, I'd like to go see this guy, kind of maybe on my own.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
So let's. All right, so you go out there. What was you go out there? But it kind of before I talk about the experience, it's kind of similar. Kind of similar. It's not a bland Lacosta, right?
Yes.
Maybe it's just his own kind of spin.
Yeah.
All right. So what can you tell us about you going out there?
It was all hands on. Very little theory. It was always moving. Always moving.
He was so dynamic in the 90s.
He was. And then, of course, he would express concepts. And he always put the slant on it that this is how you get better at just fighting. So we didn't always explore the art as much, which, in some ways that's good, and in some ways it's not good. I'm not slighting anyone, not faulting or blaming, but
Sure.
I've always been the type of person who, if I get good at something when I get more information about it.
Yeah.
Who invented it? What was he doing? What was he like? Where did he come from? What are the people like?
I used to drive. It's kind of funny. Like Carl and I used to drive something crazy because I was that way. Like I had to know where that came from.
Yeah.
And for no rhyme or reason. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of still that way. I think I'm just more particular.
Yeah.
Where before it was just anything. I was just gonna ask.
Yeah. Right.
I just didn't even know. So then, okay, so you're out there, but this is obviously not the first time you go see him. This is kind of you're going back and forth, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, you actually got rank under him.
Yes.
And FMA, correct?
Yeah. The way Vunak would rank us, he ranked you in Jeet Kune Do and the Filipino martial arts.
Together or separate?
Together.
Together. Okay.
Yeah. So, because with him, there was no way you had to do both. If you wanted to study Jeet Kune Do, you were doing the Filipino martial arts. If you wanted to go to him for FMA, well, that's fine, but you're doing Jeet Kune Do also.
Yeah. I would have flung. I just want FMA. Yeah. No, just kidding.
And you know what's funny, though? I'll tell you that, so, like I was saying, I had asked Ron, he said you got to do Kali, or the Filipino martial arts, whatever. I asked Vunak the same thing. How do I get good at hand trapping? They both said, you got to train the Filipino arts. And I'm like, I think they're just saying that to get me to do Kali. That's what I thought.
But I've heard that from a number of from that generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I asked Dan. I saw Dan at a seminar and I said, hey, Guru, can I ask you a question? And of course he's going to accommodate you. And I said, listen, how do I get good at Jeet Kune Do? Hand trapping particularly. And he says, you got to train the Filipino martial arts. And I was so mad.
Hey, Brian, long time no see. Thanks for jumping in. And if you didn't hear me, Scott, you too. But you can see it like more and more, like I've done, like the hand with knife and illustration of that. Like you have the years vested in, and your longer your tenure, that answer becomes clearer.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it's like, okay, he's saying to do this, but
right,
not really telling me why.
Yeah.
But but as you go through it, you kind of the answer kind of comes full circle to you.
Yeah.
It might be a decade, or depending on how long you're doing it and how your frequency. But
I've read in one of Dan's books how he felt that Kali was in some ways superior to Jeet Kune Do in the hand trapping phase. And I read that and I was like, nuh-uh. You know what I mean? No, sir. Just a dumb kid. You know what I mean? I'm like 19 years old and I'm like, no way.
Yeah, you're stuck in what you like and what you're passionate about, and nobody's going to tell you differently. Yeah.
So it took me a while. It took me a while to accept it, but it's the truth. Sorry to any fans of the Junfan martial arts, but one art is very nasty on the
but there's-
inside.
no argument here. So okay, so what? All right, so again, because I really want to cover all this before we get into the meat and potatoes, so to speak, which is Doce Paris and your tenure there. So 90 is your first visit to Paul.
Yep.
So when? How long did that go on for?
I'd go out there once a year, I guess.
Till like.
The last time I went out there to train with him was about 97.
I was gonna say late 90s.
Yeah,
right?
97.
Because we had to school, I didn't recall you going out there anymore.
As a matter of fact, in 1997, that was the last time I went out there to train with him. And when I came back, he had promoted me to full instructor. And that's when I finally decided to start teaching. Like teaching actively.
Because that,
all the
now,
time.
chronologically speaking, that's got to be right. Because you're the first school. Brian could help us here. Brian. So was the first school was on Meriden Road there? You
Yep.
walk down the stairs. There's kind of like a room there where, me, Brian, Derek. God,
yeah.
God, I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Todd, Mike.
Yeah. Matt.
Yeah. Those were the days. Oh my God, that was like. Brian, you can. Brian, you were there. Say something. Okay, so 97 is you got your full instructorship, and nothing bad. Obviously, you're kind of moving on. You opened your school, and you didn't see him after that.
Right.
All right, let's get into Hartsell, because now that's kind of on around in between that time, right?
I met Sifu Hartsell 1993.
93, so obviously Ron brought him out.
Yes.
Okay, yep. And before I get into the individual, all right, so he came out, kind of same thing. You're obviously going to, when Ron brings him out, you're going to seminars, but you actually went out there as well to go see him,
Right.
correct?
I'm sorry, 1992. 92, my bad, 92. But 93, and then I went to his house to train with him in 1994, perhaps. Maybe somewhere between 93 and 94.
So is that did you go after that? Was that kind of just a one type?
No, I was fortunate to log in about 60 hours of one-on-one time with him, or private time.
Brian says the hair salon hated us.
Oh yeah. Right, the hair salon.
Thanks, Brian.
They did hate us.
Wow, that's a memory that not for you I wouldn't have remembered. Okay, so you're right now. How did you attain rank now? Because you wanted to see him, but Ron was having him.
Ron was having.
Matter of fact, the three times I saw Larry was when Ron brought him out. So Ron was having him out at least every year, right?
Right, and Ron helped me advance under Hartsell. Him and Jason Silverman also helped me with that process of learning the curriculum.
I remember him coming. He would be coming down.
Yeah.
So then obviously through you going out there once and Ron bringing them out each year.
Every time Ron would bring them out,
you would get training with them.
We would get training with them. So we would do the seminars, and then afterwards, Ron, my cousin, and myself, we would do privates with him.
Yeah, right. It was there. You got to take advantage of that. And you obviously you got ranked, right?
I did. I earned a full instructorship in Jeet Kune Do and in the Filipino martial arts under him as well.
Wow. Okay. Again, not to be a dead horse now. Before we get to Doce Paris, looking at the three of those instructors and your FMA experience at that time, pre Doce Paris, what did you like? What did each instructor? What did you get from the instructor, and how did they influence you in any shape, way, or form? So let's start with Ron.
Sure. So with Ron, it was how to put someone down and finish using the Filipino arts. Yeah. That was where he excelled. He got his hands on you, and you were going to the floor,
pinching,
and then he was going to start breaking stuff.
Losing fingers on the way down.
Yeah.
Middle thyroid getting pulled. So, and anything else?
Well, and funny because his Kantao found its way into the Chisao that we were doing with our Jeet Kune Do. And it's because of his Kantao that whenever I would, lay hands and Chisao and roll with guys who had a Wing Chun background, they hated it because I wouldn't play the game in the conventional way. I wasn't just striking and boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Ron, when he would Chisao, he's grabbing your fingers and dropping it to your knees and.
No, I know that one. The finger up, the finger down.
Yeah.
I know. Seen it, played it.
So that was cool, and it was great having that edge.
That is very interesting because I gotta be honest, I never knew that. I never knew he kind of brought that into his Chisao, and subsequently you. Paul
was definitely the long range aspect, or the sparring range with the Filipino.
So Largo Mano
was
where I could
that
say,
it was strongest there.
Because the videos I have, like if I recall correctly, really stressing the fang and the snake.
Yeah.
The whole hand. Yeah. I do recall that. Hey, what up from Mr. Vunak?
And Pan and Tukin.
Pan and Tukin.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, thanks.
Before it was like this elusive thing that that you see.
It's so funny because
he was introducing it way back when.
We just talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what is it? But we won't get off target. Yeah, I got, it's funny because I definitely recall when I would watch Paul's tapes, it was like Largo Mano, the famous thing, that whole bit, anything on Mr. Vunak?
That was it, mostly, again, the long range there, and the Panantukan. With Hartsell.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, huh?
That was my first introduction to Lameko, was actually through Hartsell.
Yeah, and this is just coming from, Guru Dave. Larry loved the double stick.
Yeah.
And he loved the knife.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, seeing it be on their end, as well as Mike Frazier, who's a private student of his in Mississippi.
Oh, right on.
Yep. So I Guru Davis told me that, like, he really enjoyed that material. But I'm gonna let you finish because I know he gave, just more of the insight into Lameko.
He was really into exploring with it, and I watched him get better. I can remember seeing him do certain things, and a year later or 6 months later, he was better at it. You could tell that, like, whatever it was that he was doing, it was working.
Well, do you know what was going on? What was going on is that PG Edgar Salete was going over there to give Larry privates.
Okay.
PG Edgar asked Dave to accompany them. So Dave was getting, obviously, more training on Lameko.
Right.
And getting Larry's grappling.
Yeah.
And all that. And so there was a whole circle of information circulating around them. So
yeah.
So and I think the unfortunate passing of PG Edgar, Larry continued with Guru Dave.
Right on.
So he obviously really enjoyed it. Guru Dave loves seafood. Yes, he does. He does. Yes, sir, Mike. So now, so were you? What was last? Gosh, I hate it because some of the guys we're talking about have passed, sadly. And Larry passed 2007, correct?
Right.
So when was the last time you got to see him?
05?
05.
I remember.
It had to be then, because I remember Ron having a fundraiser.
Yes. That's what I was. Yeah,
He had a fundraiser to get money, and I know it was around that time.
because he had the hip surgery.
And subsequent, man. I know, huh? Man.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, I think it was a tough one for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, especially the ones that were particularly close under him, and yeah, much too early, you know. Okay, so for him, like, what did you, as far as your training with him, what did he instill in you that today maybe you still do? Maybe not from a point of a physical technique or tact, or it could be a tactic, a concept, a way of thinking, anything.
A couple of things. So definitely being open-minded. Now, you would think that if you're doing the Filipino arts, you would think if you're doing Jeet Kune Do, you're open-minded. We're supposed to be open-minded. But he really was open-minded. He would see something and he'd be like, show that again. You know what I mean? And it could be something that there was no restrictions with what he wanted to see and explore. And it didn't matter to him. Like a lot of guys in the martial arts, oh, we have that in our system. Oh, we have that. He wanted to see what he didn't have.
Yeah.
And
that's refreshing.
Yeah. And I remember one time him saying, he was talking about boxing at the time. He goes, you go to 10 different gyms and learn 10 different jabs. And he's like, who's right? And before any of us could answer, he's like, they're all right.
The trainer,
they're all right.
The trainer in that gym who's teaching it.
Yeah, that's
yeah, right, yeah.
And he was the first person besides Ron that was willing to play with knife wrestling.
And I think, again, because one of the things, like I alluded to before, when those three got together, PG Edgar was picking Larry's brain on positioning. From what I understand from Guru Dave, and I hope I'm reciting this correctly, there was getting some cross information there, and one of the crosses was Larry's groundwork and how the knife would come into play.
Sure.
Yeah. So I know, pretty confident that went on. So. Yeah, just wow. Yeah, I mean, tremendous people, huh?
Oh yeah.
So, all right. You kind of touched on their influence and all that. At this point, I want to kind of jump into where you really kind of, I'm going to say, majority of your attention and kind of direction is when you Doce Paris. Who was your, I guess, your first exposure to it?
Okay. My first exposure was with, this is weird, so it was with Sifu Bustillo. I didn't know at the time really what we were doing.
And if you don't mind me, what was this?
This was
A seminar, right?
It was a seminar, but where was the seminar? It was
New Jersey? Didn't the people have in New Jersey?
He came to New Jersey, but he also came twice to Connecticut. Nick Davila brought him in.
That's a name I haven't heard in years. Oh,
yeah.
Actually, wow.
Yeah.
He brought him in?
Yeah.
Twice.
Where? Stanford.
I totally forgot about him.
He brought him in twice. And so I was still way too young to appreciate what we were doing. And at the time, I just wanted to box and kickbox and fight at close range. But I wasn't really interested in the stick work or the blade work. But I wasn't dumb, and I knew that, well, number one, you have to do it because they're not going to let you not do it.
Yeah, you're there.
But also, people are crazy. People carry knives, they carry sticks. But it was with the second time Sifu came.
Mike, you're absolutely right. It was Eric Paulson as well. You're absolutely right. Thank you for that. Paulson also jumped in. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Sifu Larry.
Yeah.
Eric Paulson and Guru Dave.
That's crazy.
4.
Yeah. What a day of training.
You're not gonna tell me, man. Some magic was happening there, right?
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh, Maestro Steve, thank you. Good to see you. All right, so I never knew Nick at Stanford.
Yeah.
I actually, like I was telling you,
It's like the Stanford Men's Club or something like
I
that.
forgot about that name.
Yeah.
So, what year?
This was early 90s, very early 90s.
Early 90s. So you're just going like, hey, see if Bustillo's gonna be in town.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like you're going like, I think I'm gonna switch gears here and
I was so hungry to learn this stuff. I didn't care.
Yeah. So, all right, so you see him at the seminar, but at this time, you're not thinking like, hey, I'm going to go into the Doce Perry's.
Right.
You're just thinking like, I'm going to the seminar.
Right.
I want to see what what this guy's offering, but you're not going there with the intent that this is going to be your new stepping stone.
So I went, and it wasn't until he casually, offhandedly mentioned that in the Doce Parra system, and that was it, and he went about the rest of the seminar. Here's another name. So at that time, Tom Herlihy
Remember him?
was going to New Jersey and to train with Guru Don Cuesta in the Doce Parra system. And so Tom and I were partners at a lot of these seminars. So I'm like, you know this stuff already. He's like, yeah, we're just Doce Parra.
I just want to back up a bit. So after the seminar with Bustillo, you find out that Tom's kind of doing this.
Yes.
But he's doing it with Don Cuesta in New Jersey.
Yep.
He tells you about it, and is it fair to say you guys started going together to the seminars?
We did. Actually, so what we would do is, we would go to the Bustillo seminars, but twice a week, I would get in my car, I would drive to his parents' house,
And you guys were
and then we would then go to New Jersey.
I think I recall you telling me that.
We would drive to New Jersey, to Jersey City.
Yeah.
And Guru Dong was teaching Doce Parras out of a gym, like a weightlifting gym.
Subleasing him.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
So and that was matter of fact, I do remember that because I remember you come back, and this is late 90s.
Yeah.
So all right. So at that point, you're kind of going with Guru Dong.
Yes.
Okay. So how'd that go? What's going on there?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Very heavy into sparring. Very heavy into sparring. In fact, there's my sparring armor from him in the background right
You
there.
know what I'm so mad about? Mike Frazier will appreciate this. I could have bought one of those helmets from him. And you know what now? I can't find them.
No.
Because the repops, I was talking to Guru Dave, and they're supposedly just not as good.
Yeah.
And I am so kicking myself in the butt that I didn't back then when he came up to Don Cuesta, the place by the bar.
Yeah.
I did not buy one. I'm just like, I know, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but. So then, all right. So you're doing a lot of sparring.
Yeah.
What were in addition to sparring? What's kind of the curriculum? What are you doing?
So Don was gracious, and so whatever we wanted to do. So Tom was interested in learning the whole system, and I just had a lot of questions.
So you weren't really committing yourself quite yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not
fair.
yet.
Yeah, no.
I'm committed to going, committed to doing what he's asking, but I'd be like, hey, can we do some staff work? Could we do some of this, some of that? Again, you don't always realize what's in front of you or appreciate what you've got.
Brian, I gotta buy it off you if you want to sell it. Brian still got his helmet.
Jeez.
Brian, give me
Wow.
that. Brian, give me that.
Yeah.
You should sell it. I'm going to BBC for super connections. So he wants the whole system. You're still on the fence. You like it, but you not know if you really want to really go forward.
Yeah.
As far as okay. So, what else as far as the curriculum? Well, I guess during the class settings, what were you guys doing? I mean, what was the content?
We would do some of their bara, their blade work, which I liked. broke down Sinawali. And that was really interesting. And then some Escrito.
The judo mixed in with the...
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, yep. Which we'll get to was from Kakoi, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And so Guru Dong was very close with both Grandmaster Kakoi and with Dionisio, with Dione, his nephew. And Dong, in fact, is ranked under both.
Oh, is he? I didn't know
He's
that.
ranked under both.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And quite possibly is the highest ranking Doce Paras guy in the States.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. He might be because he's got to be, he's obviously prolific because he's in his book.
Yeah.
He was chosen. So,
Yeah.
Obviously he did something significant and right.
And, what's really funny is, for as nice as he is, sparring with him is horrible. In the close because of the corticabatas, and he's trapping, he's hitting. Yeah, he's all over you, and you don't. And sometimes you're not even quite sure what's happening. You just hear the.
And then after you're hearing noise, it's hard for you to get in gear to stop what's going on.
Yeah.
And
back then I remember sparring with him one time, and he was the first and only person who's ever hit me behind his own back. So we went through a series, and again, this is live, bam, bam, and somehow he got a hold, and boom. Yeah.
One of those numbers.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously, I guess what was the transition then from Dong to back to your original exposure, GM Bustillo?
So the only difference was that I could go to see Guru Dong twice a week.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
I spent some time out in California, but it was, it just wasn't as long. You know what I mean?
But so while you were seeing Dong, you were seeing both at the same time?
I was.
All right, so let me back up a bit. I guess what point, at what year did you finally make a commitment, like this is something you want to get more of, and you want to this is what you want?
I'll tell you, 1995.
That's when you decided, like, you know what?
Yeah.
This is a system I want.
Yeah.
95.
And it was because,
hey Nathan, thank you for
around
watching.
this time, Dog Brothers are they're out and they're really doing it. And
when you were doing it, that's when I went to go see Mark Denny.
Yeah. And so I went and did my first Dog Brothers experience was 1994. 92 or 94. 92 or 94.
Some Mark after that.
And
2000?
Yeah. It was like 92 or 94. Yeah. And, I didn't even know, I didn't go for that. We had done some private lessons with Mark. And next thing you know, he's like, come by on Saturday.
Oh, hey, incidentally.
Yeah. And I'm like, when we got to his house, I'm like, why is all these people here?
You're about to find out.
And he's like, hey, glad you made it. You ready? I'm like, ready for what?
Here you are, just coming at interest, and now you're being thrown really into the wolves.
Yeah.
And your first match, I don't want to get off subject from Doce Paras, but viewers, this is kind of funny because just knowing Felix Valencia.
His first match.
And nothing bad, I've heard nothing but wonderful things as far as Felix, his Omeko, what he does there, what he's done, backyard group and all that. But there's other things too.
Yeah. He, let's just say it wasn't my shining moment,
Let's just say that's not the first thing that I talk about when I talk about my martial arts journey.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, so I'm standing in front of him with borrowed gloves, a borrowed helmet, and I'm like, this is really happening. And then all
that
of a
must have
sudden,
been so surreal. You're going there to, you're just seeing what's going on and watching, and before you know it, you're actually kind of getting.
Yeah, it's like a Fight Club experience.
Like they just pick a viewer, like an audience, and yank them out. You know what I mean? Oh, hey George, thank you.
And I'm standing there staring at him, just staring. And Felix hit me.
Well, here's the thing.
Bang!
Here's the thing. I mean,
whoa.
If that's your first experience and you've never done it,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you can't do it or you're not capable.
Right.
But sometimes if that's your first thing, you kind of get stage fright, and everything that you know or that you can apply
Yeah.
due to that stage fright and being put on the spot kind of goes out the window. But it doesn't mean you're not capable. It just means you're thrown into something that you had no idea.
Yeah, I hadn't planned on it. I didn't, like, there was no warm-up, there was no nothing. And when we're walking over there, I'm like, I guess there's tons of people. There's a guy with blood coming out of his skull.
I heard they got
And I'm like, why is he bleeding? And they're like, all right, here's a stick.
And I
here's
know
some
exactly
gloves.
what you're talking about, because when I went to go train with Mark, it's in that field
Yeah.
where he lived across the street before
Right.
he moved. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
field. So I did my whole weekend thing on that field.
Yeah.
This is where we the whole.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
kind of neat, you know. It was some historical and all that, and but that was. That was interesting training with him, and you're probably not as interesting as what you went through. But all right, so getting back to Doce Perez. So at this point, 95, you were committed to getting rank and going with Doce Perez.
Yes.
I guess at what point did you kind of give all your attention to GM Bustillo?
I'll tell you.
That'd be late 90s, right?
It was 1990. It was 1996. 1996. So they put together the Jun Fan Jeet Kune Do nucleus,
Which
it didn't last long.
I was just saying, yeah.
But it was a lot of, I mean, they were all part of it. Inasanto was part of it.
Initially, I heard they were all part of it.
Hartsell was
And
part of
a couple
it.
people.
They eventually left.
Sad. That's too bad.
But so all of the original guys got together and they decided to make a curriculum or a standardization or something, some kind of way of educating people on what Jeet Kune Do was. And what they decided to do was put together a seminar, a group seminar in San Francisco and it was by invitation only. Each instructor was given 20 invitations to disperse among whoever he felt.
Who they could bring.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Ted Wong invited 20 people. Sifu Hartsell invited 20 people. Guru Dan invited 20 people. So everyone, and I was in New Jersey training with Sifu Bustillo, and I brought it up because I knew Ron was going, and I knew Jason Silverman was going.
Ron obviously getting invited by
Larry Hartsell. And I think Larry also invited Jason as well.
Oh, I'm sure. At that time, Jason was in.
Yeah. So I just finished training, and I just brought it up. I was like, Sifu, I hear you guys are doing this big thing.
Hey, by the way.
And I'm just this dumb kid, and I'm,
Yeah, but hey, you know what? This thing, because you told me the story.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to ruin it for the viewers, but just think if you didn't, make the query.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
And so, I'm dancing around and asking questions, and he just looks at me with this flat look. Do you want to go?
He's probably seen this kid who can't really spit out.
Yeah.
And he's circling around like a bumbling whatever you want to call him, and he's probably feeling sorry for you. He says, "Look, do you want to go?"
And I was like, "Yes." And so he's like, "Give me your information." So it was like I went back to Connecticut. He went back to California, and I was like, I hope he sends it. What if he forgets? I don't know.
I know.
Oh, should I call him? Should I? And it was like Willy Wonka. You know what I mean? Like the whole Charlie the golden ticket. And but he sent it, and I'm like, I'm going.
Boy, I can't even imagine the experience that must have been.
And it was because of that I decided that I'm going to give this guy.
Well, no,
my
here he
loyalty.
is, like what you did. You're going to be. I mean, right. I mean, that only makes sense that from that point on, you're correct. Yeah.
And it was, I'm happy about the decision.
No,
I would
yeah.
still cross train with Guru Dong
Sure.
because it was so
Yeah,
close.
he's in New Jersey, sure.
Um,
I gotta say something. Just I know we're on Bustillo, but just for the viewers, Guru Don Questa is one of the nicest human beings
yeah,
I've ever met. For the few times you brought him up, I just thought he was just a wonderful man.
he is very
Yeah,
kind.
So yeah, nothing but good things to say about him. All right, so then So we obviously know why, because that golden ticket. So now you're obviously with them, and of course you end up you're getting ranked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know they go by belts and all that. But you got your black belt.
Yes.
What are the belts before the black belt? Are they acknowledged, or is it kind of like
They're
just
acknowledged. A lot of the guys, like for instance, I remember when my friend up in Massachusetts, Chuck Furtado, I remember when he got his brown belt, and then which was really cool. I was excited for him.
So would they actually give you a belt, or is it kind of just?
It's written down in the certificate.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
no problem. I was just curious. Okay. Yep. Okay.
At least that's how it was with Sifu Bustillo. Dong, he'd have you wearing the garb, the uniform,
and with the
get your
belt.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, all right. So you get your what was your graduation? What year was it?
Ooh, a long time ago.
Circa early 2000s.
I got my black belt, my first degree black belt. Let's see, I'll tell you. Like late 2000s. It was like
Late, huh?
08? Might have been 08.
I don't know why I thought earlier. But okay.
Might have been 08. Maybe 07. I think it was like 08.
Now, was he kind of the same? Because we're coming up on your demo there. Because we want to give so I'm just allocating time here.
Sure.
What was his point of view, so to speak? Was it similar to Don Questa's?
Yes.
Okay.
Very similar. Although Sifu did spend a lot of time with Grandmaster Kakoi, so there would be a lot of Escrito mixed in.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Corto Corbata, the curving, which that was one of the things that kind of really made me lean towards Doce Pares that was the first time I saw someone treat a stick like it was a stick. Because you go to seminars and they're just like, look, this is some stuff, you're doing it, you do this stuff, and
they'll give you the ABCs, but they really won't differentiate.
Right. Because some stuff you're seeing, it looks cool, you're moving it, but it's like that's bladed. That's a blade technique. Or you're doing
That's what I like about not to jump off.
Sure.
That's what I love about LeMaco and I love about Burton. Man, everything is just freaking separated.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, nope, this is a knife curriculum.
Yeah.
This
And
is
it
a stick
should be.
curriculum. This is a sword curriculum. And with LeMaco, this is a stick, this is a knife, and this, it just for me. I'm not saying that should be for. Obviously, I'm not saying that. Those are listening. I'm just saying for me, I just like that.
I do
It
too.
just separates it. I find it easier to digest. I find it easier to compartmentalize, to teach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to just, here's a gift bag.
Yeah. Right, because that's usually how it is.
Yeah.
So you could be doing disarms, and the disarms you're doing are great, but there's a big difference between a stick disarm and a knife disarm, or a stick disarm and a sword disarm.
Right.
And are some things, do they work well across the board? Some do. Some.
Some of your, at the end, the snakes on the wrist area,
But some stuff, if you try to do a snake against a sword, you're gonna cut yourself.
Yeah, deep ones.
Yeah. Those things. So, and again, because the sword moves, it's more fine. A stick is more gross.
Well, you need the power, momentum.
But what I really thought was cool with the Doce Pares is that they would sit there and you think you perceive it coming here, and all of a sudden it curves behind you. And it's hitting you on the back of the head.
Yeah.
So that was clever. And they would do it to you at close range. They'd sit there and be like face to face, and they're still hitting you. Which I'm like, how is he doing this?
While they're talking to you.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to. Hey, Cobb Avenir brother Joseph, thank you. Hold on, we got a question there. Can any version have San Miguel? You here? You want you? Because this is for you.
Let me see that.
If I do it on
Yes.
on the question.
Yes. Yeah, it did. And in fact,
I'm just curious. What was the question?
it was the Kenyeti version of the San Miguel set, defensive sets.
San Miguel. Oh, from Memorial.
Yes.
The only reason I know that just my time. That one time I went to go see Tom Vizio.
Okay.
And he was. I mean, he was at that point. I think one of the very few that was doing San Miguel.
Yeah. And in fact, a long time ago, I was pretty good at the form, doing some of the forms. Not so much anymore.
I could be honest with you. You would do it. I wouldn't. I'd be like, what's that? What's that?
Yeah.
All right. Great stuff. Incidentally, because like I said, I want to allocate time for your demo. Let me just see. Okay, just overall. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. Again, it could be in how you look at things, how you teach things, how you do things. What are the benefits that you've got from FMA as a whole? Again, it doesn't have to be anything specific.
Sure. No, there's a lot of things. I discovered that it does make your hand trapping better. That's the first thing. So mission accomplished. I believe that the weapons wake up your hands. So if you like boxing, as a matter of fact, when I did my amateur boxing, I would warm up with double knife, just shadow boxing with a double knife.
There's a Vunak there, huh?
Yeah,
I remember him he would train weapons
great
for his empty hands.
Yeah, and when I would do that, my hands would be like fast, they'd be accurate, and they'd be more creative, just educated.
Here's the thing. I mean, you got a knife coming at you. I mean, I think that would improve your hands.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
Anything else?
I think
benefits.
It started making me really think about just being street ready. People think, you think that if you're doing martial arts, you think if you're doing jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Bruce, you think if you're doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you're ready for an altercation in the street. Maybe, not if they have a weapon. People think if they're doing boxing, they're ready for the street. Maybe.
I tell you, better train at all.
Yeah.
Or at least visit it.
And you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, no argument here. I mean, obviously, you know where I stand on that. Just before we get into the demo.
Sure.
What do you? I know you. What do you like? What do you like training in FMA today? Like, I know you. Like, are you still actively Doce players, or kind of?
These days, so I actively practice what I've been taught.
Okay.
But I have friends who do like some really cool stuff, and I'm so over martial arts politics. I want to just learn. I am a better student now than I've ever been.
Hey Frank, thanks for watching. And Ryan Dean, I found the helmet. You can have, oh my God, thank you so much, Brian. I will definitely contact you. I appreciate that. I think Frank. I was give me that helmet.
Knocking on his door, 2 a.m.
What do you like training today?
Blade, sword. I don't want to sound arrogant. I have a good handle on stick fighting. I feel at least able to handle my own. Are there people better? I'm sure. Are there people worse? I guess.
Yeah.
But I can handle. I know my way around the stick, the Olisi, you know. But the sword, the knife is. I'm terrified. I'm terrified. You know.
Especially just
There's no margin for error. People say you know what I mean? Like there's no room for error.
And when you obviously when we've been training together, and I was always the knife, and obviously you're scared of that, but then I saw you with Dave stuff, and I'm like, so and now obviously I thought it was dangerous. I don't want the audience to think that I didn't think that. I guess what I'm saying is, now I really see like how dangerous it is. So I'm with you when it comes to knife. It's just
and
lifelong ambition.
Yeah, and you can't put in enough hours. You know what I mean? I don't
because it's so. It's the failure. Like if you do it correctly, like you should be experiencing failures.
Exactly.
You're not, and 99% of the time, it's probably because the feeder is not giving you energy that you need or should be getting to deal with it in a realistic what you would see out there. But
I've had 2 real life knife encounters, and it was the scariest thing that's ever happened. The first time, I got cut. I disarmed the blade, but I got cut. I got cut twice in the rib cage. And this was a guy who didn't know anything. Or at least I don't think he knew anything.
Thank God. Right?
You know? The second time, the guy pulled a knife, and it was inside a house, actually. And I remember backing up, and I backed up into the dresser, and I just grabbed whatever...
whatever.
I threw nail polish, a pen at him, and then I remembered, this is a long time ago. It just so happens I had a knife in my pocket, and my cheek touched the knife, and I went, and it was
you're probably so overwhelmed, like you actually forgot that you had something.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I remember I pulled the blade, and then his mom ran into the room. So now it's him with his knife, me with my knife, his mom and his sister, and his mom is screaming, and I'm like, there's people in the way, and
sounds like a Jerry Springer.
Totally.
Bad.
And his sister is like, just get out of the house, and she basically pushed me and ushered me out of the house.
Thank God. Huh?
Yeah. So that was the knife fight that never was. And I'm glad.
Yeah, 100%. Let me see. Amen on the Pollux comment. Yes, sir, Mike. Absolutely. Hey, brother. Hey, Muck, brother. Angelo, thanks for watching. All right, guys. Chris is going to do a small demo. So he's going to leave, just get his partner, and he's going to do a little show and all that. But this has been fun. I want everybody that's been watching, I want to thank you so much, and especially the comments and all that. Yes, sir, Joe. Yes, sir. All right, so Chris is going to get, and I'm going to move these chairs. So if you just, all right, he's coming. Okay. So what do you guys have in mind?
Well, I'm thinking we could do trace.
Okay, guys. So they're going to do Chris and the student John are going to do what is trace. So sit back, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
It's a real simple drill. Trace, 3-3. This is one of the first Doce Paras drills I ever learned. You can do this single stick, you can do a double stick, you can do it empty hand, and you can even do it with the staff. We'll start with the double stick.
All right.
So body shot, and he's going to block it. This one for now. He comes back with a headshot, and I return with a headshot. Again, body shot, headshot, headshot. 2 more times. Body shot, headshot, headshot. Body shot, headshot, headshot. So that's the trace. That's the first part. So you got 1, 2, 3. He returns fire. 1, 2. He comes back. 3. Now it's trace. You've now officially done or seen.
So the trace rate being that you guys actually recycled?
Yes.
Okay. I do remember this.
Last time. So, I should have brought a staff in the room with me. Sorry. So, same drill.
Oh, okay. So, Chris, regardless of the weapon, this would still be construed as
Trace.
Okay.
Because it's 3 attacks for 3 attacks. 3 alternating attacks. So in that way, it is similar to, like, say, a Sombrata type drill because it's counter for counter. But this is just, again, maybe other systems have it. I learned this drill from Doce Parks. Once you get past the basics, okay, so here's the count one more time. You got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's a body shot, a headshot, and a headshot. A body shot, a headshot, and a headshot. So we could do this. He keeps his 2 sticks. I got body shot.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have you move back just to get John in.
Sure.
Right.
So you can, same drill, just
Oh, okay, you just say okay.
single stick versus the double stick.
Gotcha.
We could switch one out, where I would go here, same drill. Now, treating it from a left-handed perspective against, doing a right-handed drill from a left-handed perspective. Same drill. And then, of course, eventually the goal would be to cycle through all of it. Meaning, I go my single stick versus his double stick, this single stick versus his double stick, going back to the double stick, interchanging which stick addresses his attacks, or a different stick might even initiate the offense. And then finally, for the grand finale, so now we could do, again, it was body shot, headshot, headshot. So we got a body shot, boom, boom. He comes in here, there, there, boom, boom, boom. Body shot, headshot, headshot. Body shot, headshot, headshot. Same drill, one drill, but multiple options.
Nice. All right.
You know, and for $19.95, and if you act now,
we will take 10% off. John, thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right. That was awesome. All right, what we got here? Richard is watching. Hey, my brother Gregory. Thanks. Kyle Richard. Thanks. All right, that was awesome. And we couldn't have We couldn't have timed that better.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because usually on or around an hour, not always, but the battery starts to go up. But I haven't seen a sign yet.
Okay.
So, we can definitely,
Cool.
yeah, we can include. But I thought this was fantastic.
Thank you.
There was definitely a lot of people watching. Thank you, Mike Frazier, brother Mike in Mississippi. Yes, thank you all for watching, and those who asked questions. And Nate, thank you. Again, thank you for taking your time. I know you had students in here, and obviously, I'm sure you could think of other things to be doing on a.
Really cool.
I'm gonna get you in here. Be doing on a Thursday night at 8:00. Brother John, Big John, thank you. But again, thanks for coming on.
Thank
and
you.
Also, we're gonna conclude this next week. I think I have Billy Brown. I will definitely confirm that at the time. I don't have the time and the day yet, but Guru Billy Brown, and we're gonna find out what he does and what he's about. I don't even know, but we'll all find out. And in the meantime, please hit subscribe to the channel. Again, trying to grow as a collective community. Okay, and if you have any other further questions, or if anybody would like to get a hold of Chris and all that, they can message you on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I'm on Facebook, like everybody else is.
Yeah. I know, if this is bad out though, I'm off. I'm telling you, I'm going. But again, thank you all for watching. This was great, and I will see everybody hopefully next week. Thank you.